I'm Daniel Orihuela, and I'm here to present to you a little bit of background and a little demo of how Kid Icarus plays. It's a base demo here that shows off the first 3 chapters, but I'll start off by showing you how you can actually choose different weapons before you enter a chapter.
Just like, you know,
I'm assuming it's a really big club.
One would hope.
So there are different weapon categories to choose from, and even within each category, there are multiple weapons to choose from. Weapons will have different values like ranged and melee, range attack versus melee attack. You can even have bonus modifiers right here, depending on how powerful the weapon is. This one I'm actually going to choose to use the Tiger Claws. And you go to the move out section here for the chapters. Right here we have 3 of the chapters you can play right now. And when you start each chapter, you get to the Fiend's Cauldron, which is where you're able to modify the difficulty of the game. The base difficulty is 2.0, and as you go above 2.0, you start gambling with hearts that you've earned. Hearts is essentially the currency of the game that you earn as you defeat enemies. And the higher the intensity, the more difficult they are to defeat, but at the same time, the more hearts you get from them, also the better weapons and or powers that you'll be able to find as you go through each chapter. Now, if you go below 2.0, it makes the game easier, but you're paying to make it easier. So I'm going to put it at 4. Move out. Now each chapter for the most part is broken up into land and air battles. We start off in the air battle here where I'm able to actually use the touchscreen to move where Pit is aiming and use the circle pad to move Pit around and the L button to fire.
Is that good, Brenna?
Now you have ranged attacks and melee attacks, which occur automatically. If enemies are close to you, you'll use the melee attack. If they're far away, you'll shoot your ranged attack, which does have limited range depending on the weapon you've chosen to use. This is your nemesis, Medusa, who has returned with her underworld army. The game is also fully voice narrated, so there actually is a constant dialogue going on that reveals a lot of the story and hints to how the game plays. Now, even though the game is voiced in English, there will be, if you play it in French or Spanish, the text will appear in French and Spanish. And as you're flying here right now, you're working with the goddess Palatena, the goddess of light, and she's giving you the gift of the power of flight, which is how Pit is able to fly temporarily during these air battles. And now we're entering the second half of the stage, where you have a chance to experience how land battle takes place, where the control scheme changes a little bit. Now here, in order to change your view, you actually kind of slide along the touchpad like a globe. The faster you spin it, the faster you turn, and if you want to actually spin it really fast and then stop it, you can just tap down on the screen. With the circle pad also, now I can actually now dodge left, right, forward, or even back, and I can even start running if I hold it down. Now each weapon you choose to use will actually affect how Pit moves on the ground. Like if you carried a club or a cannon, which are much bigger weapons, Pit won't move as fast. I'm using claws right now, so actually Pit is very fast, is a lot faster, and doesn't get tired as easily.
That's cool.
Oops, sorry. Here's a treasure chest over here, which sometimes will have weapons or items to be dropped that you can get in different times. Also over here, this is referred to as an intensity gate. So when I started the chapter, I chose to make the difficulty 4, but if you have it at least at 5 or higher, you can actually open this secret area and enter in.
Oh, cool. So you don't have access now?
Because my intensity right now, you can see right here, is set to 4.0.
Oh, so you can't get in there?
Right, you have to come back. So it's a nice way to encourage people to replay the game, to get better weapons and things along those lines. Also notice if you actually flick the circle pad in different directions, you can see that his projectile attack like this is normally kind of crazy amount of fire. If I just start holding it down the button, kind of start shooting. Now if I start actually flicking or dashing with the circle pad and attacking, whoops, you notice that he gets kind of a little bit more of a fireball shot in behind it instead. Now this is where you enter a boss battle section, where I'll be fighting Twin Bellows.
Whenever you guys are ready, find a seat.
Ow. That's the end of chapter 1. And essentially you're working your way through these different chapters as you work to fight Medusa. Now at the end of each chapter, based on how high you make the intensity, you get these rewards. So I have this weapon has a value of 137, and the value is put together based on how good it is at ranged, melee, and then the bonus modifiers that can also be included. So here you can see I have some additional bonus modifiers with this weapon versus others, so I can now try this one out if I want to. It's got some heart boosters and different powers as well. This has been Kid Icarus. The game's launching on March 23rd. There's a lot more to discover beyond the single player story. There's also multiplayer with up to 6 players, which will work on local wireless, over the internet, over Wi-Fi. And there's even an AR card functionality using special AR cards designed for the game, which will be distributed with the game and via other means as well.